Hey, house guests, welcome to. Is it live? Hey, house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother Canada Digital Daily Recap or Digital Dailies Recap. We have two to talk about today. Our house guests of the day are Roy Rogers and Nancy Cowden. Thank you both so much for the support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so, so much. So, thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests today, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a holla. And before we get going, I also want to thank our super chatter from the other day. Super chat is another fantastic way to support our channel. Let me come back here. So Jefferson Tucker, thank you so much for your super chat the other day. Oh my goodness. What a week to be alive. Friday, we have the earthquake. Today, we have the solar eclipse. And we also have possibly the first signs of intelligence in the BB Can house. Ah! Okay, so when we left off last time, Avery was preparing to nominate Elijah and Tola. It is what it is. We saw on the show that she did, in fact, follow through with that plan, and she made it known in her speech that Elijah is her target. And we also heard the other day she kept saying, sometimes the best move is the easiest move, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, but this move is passive and weak. It may be easy, but it is not going to help you in the long run. So let's talk about today's digital daily drops. So first up, April 5th. This one starts with stuff that was happening before the nomination ceremony. Only a little bit though, and then we really get into it. So we see a scene where Spicy V is letting Todd know that Avery was really thinking about putting him up. He was on the short list. Ooh, she's kind of like throwing Avery under the bus there. I think she can tell that she has another possible avenue to the end with Todd and Bailey. So she's really trying to work that angle and make sure that she is one of Todd's top allies. So yeah, she's letting him know he was a consideration for this week. And he's like, well, I'm really frustrated that some of these girls are not fully trusting me yet, because he's ready to roll with the girls and take out some of these big guys like Matt, Anthony, Tola. Like he's ready to do some big stuff. And he's like, I really just want to win something so that I can prove it to the girls that I want to work with you guys. And I feel like he did start doing that by, his decision with the executive POV, putting Vivek on the block when he could have done some really crazy shit. And I wish he did, but he didn't. Okay, so then we see the nomination ceremony, or at least the end of it, and Elijah and Tola are on the block, just like on the episode. Hugs all around, blah, blah, blah. And then we get some new stuff. So after the ceremony, Avery is still blabbing about, oh, Elijah didn't know he was the target. He went over his head when we talked about it. He didn't know until my speech that he was a target. We know. She keeps saying sometimes the best move is the easy one. No more. Is she trying to get like catchphrases going for like a t-shirt line or something? Hi, baby. Because she keeps saying the same stuff over and over. She has a chat with Tola. Bowie has his crunchy. She has a chat with Tola, and he's like, no, it's good. Like, yay, it went so well. He's being so overly positive. It's coming off super fake. And I think it was Todd and Bailey who were even talking about it at one point, and they were just like, it's too much. Like, he's doing the most, and it's overkill. So Tola tells Avery, I trust the girls to keep me safe this week. Like, we're good. Like, don't worry about it. Okay. So then Matt and Kayla have a check-in, and apparently they had some sort of a drunken conversation at the party the other night. And I think Kayla was like crying. They were trying to like work things out since there's been tension between the two of them. And Matt's like, I want you to know, like, you're good. I was hearing from some people that like you were worried about me, Lexus and Anthony. So we're good. Do you remember what we said in the conversation? So she's like, yeah, we're good. Totally. We'll see. I'm gonna guess they're not good. But they agree any issues between the two of them were because of Elijah being messy last week, and they're saying that's why he's on the block. You guys had issues before that, but if that's what you want to say to make yourselves feel better, sure. So then Elijah and Avery have a short chat, and he's like, well, I really liked your nomination speech, but I will admit I was a bit surprised by it. He didn't know he's the target. Just to note here as well, Spicy was talking to Avery before this, and when they saw Elijah coming on the spy screen, Spicy decided to hide in the bathroom. And at one point, she was like crawling on the floor and like stopped to eat a snack. And it was pretty freaking bold. But anyway, he didn't say anything to her that was like super secretive that would have caused a problem. But anyway, yeah, Elijah tells Avery, I knew I was going up on the block, of course, but I didn't think I was your target. And he's like, crime and punishment, I guess. Like, sure, I get it. So Avery's like, well, when I talked to you, you assumed that you were the pawn. But she says, you can still win the power veto. You do have that chance. So Elijah wants to know, am I really that bad for your game? You really trust me less than you trust Tola? Like, what's going on here? And I have to agree, like your target is Elijah. Why? It just doesn't make sense, especially for Avery, because he is like extra close to Avery out of a lot of the other people in the directors. So Avery's like, honestly, you're not bad for me, but I didn't want to ruffle a lot of feathers, and I know that other people are worried about you. I think she also mentioned for like the millionth time that when he was HOH last week, like it was great to see a pawn get HOH and get power, but like I was terrified because nobody knew what you were gonna do. So Elijah says, I hope that we can get back to the way that we were before. I just want to make things right. And Avery says, I know it's strictly game, not personal. Okay. So then Spicy, Kayla, and Avery are chatting. And Spicy says, wow, I really want to go to the end with all the girls. Final 5, let's do this. And she says, if I had to choose between Bailey and Anthony, I'd pick Bailey. I don't buy it. She walks that back like a minute or less later, and she's like, okay, maybe I would pick Anthony. I think she even got a little bit of a pushback from, I want to say it was Kayla, who was like, oh, really? Like, you're going to pick Bailey over Anthony? I feel like Kayla is one of the most loyal to the Hot Chocolate Alliance at this point anyway, but like not everybody else in the alliance feels that way. So anyway, they're all talking about going to the final 5 with the Hot Chocolate Alliance, and they're all basically trying to convince themselves that they would be able to get Anthony out at the end. They're like, oh, even if he wins HOH at like final 5, he can't play in the next one. Okay, but he can still play for the veto. Also, he doesn't need to win these competitions because y'all are going to find a reason to protect him anyway. Let's be real. But yeah, they're like talking themselves up like, oh, we'll just take him out at the end. It's fine. No, just get rid of him while you can. Why are you like this? So then Todd and Bailey are chatting in the green bedroom. And Todd, so help me, Todd. He is becoming the voice of reason here. Todd asks Bailey, why the F are we not targeting Tola this week? Why is Goose the target? Because Todd says, if I could tell Goose right now that we're saving him this week, we're going to be going into next week with another number. He will be loyal to us. He will rock with us. And Bailey's like, yeah, I know. It's not ruled out yet. We got to see what happens with this veto, but he is not necessarily going to be the target at the end of the week. So Todd's like, all right, well, good, because we need to start taking out some key players here. And Bailey's like, I know. Bailey, I feel like, acknowledges this a lot, but then like she also gets pulled back into Anthony's mist. So I feel like she's trying to see the light here, but it gets a little cloudy at times. And I think that Todd, the closer that she gets to Todd, the more she's going to realize, whoa, we really do need to make some of these moves here. So then they have the POV player draw. So, of course, we have the 2 nominees, Elijah and Tola, playing. And then the 3 extra players this week are Spicy, Lexus, and Bailey. So, yeah, the girls were pretty excited that 3 of them were going to be playing. So, Spicy and Bailey chat, and they're like, woo, let's get this. Let's win this. And Spicy says, I can't believe that Todd is still here. Like, it's so great. And Bailey's like, yeah, it's awesome. He's another number for us. They're talking about next week. They think that Todd winning HOH would be the best case scenario for them because he can take shots that they're not necessarily super jazzed to take themselves. Like, one of the guys. So Bailey says, I just wish that we could trust Goose more. Maybe we could get something going with him. And Spicy's like, I totally agree. If we do save him this week, I think he would be trustworthy. I think he would work with us. So then Bailey's like, all right, well, hear me out. Imagine if Elijah comes off the block. What's going to happen? And Spicy's like, well, I'm kind of nervous that if Elijah were to come down, Avery would just put Todd up on the block because she likes Matt too much. Avery is too close to Matt. She won't want to put him up on the block. So Bailey asks such an important question. Don't we want to win? Yes, thank you. Don't you want to win? Why would you put up Todd? I mean, it's so clear that the guys would flip the vote on Todd and send him out and keep Elijah. So Bailey and Spicy agree they would love to send Matt out. They feel like Matt is coming after the girls for sure. They think he would put two of them up if he were to win HOH. And they feel like if they could get Matt out, Lexus would be all theirs again. I honestly don't know what Lexus would do if Matt were to leave because I think Lexus would be so pissed. She doesn't have many options of other people to work with. I almost just feel like she would just kind of like be there and not really contribute that much. Like, or maybe she would be pissed and go on a competition run. Who knows? But I'm kind of getting the vibe that she would just like do nothing for a few weeks and then turn it up and then who knows? Probably, I honestly feel like she would stick closer to Anthony at that point, which is unfortunate. But Bailey says we can't play in fear. We need to make these moves before it's too late. So they agree. Let's win the power veto. Then we'll talk to Avery because we just can't let this happen. We cannot let Goose be the evictee this week. So then Spicy and Anthony chat. And Spicy, even though she just said, like, oh, we need to win this comp, she tells Anthony, I am 90% going to throw this POV comp. She just feels like she can't win right now. It's going to make the target on herself even bigger. And also, she doesn't want to have to show her cards, right? That would be a big giveaway for which way she's leaning. And honestly, I don't think she even knows at this point who she's more like, which side she's more loyal to, because she wants to keep things going with Anthony here, but you can tell like they are definitely moving in different directions with their alliances outside of each other. So it's a very awkward, precarious situation right now. Spicy does admit, though, she is itching for an HOH win. She would love to have that HOH power. She asks Anthony, what would I even do if I won HOH? And she's asking, is it hot chocolate to the end? Is that what we're doing? I don't even know who I should be targeting. Do what you want to do, girl. But Anthony, I think, said, yeah, they're with hot chocolate. I mean, he has said in the past that it's basically like whoever they can get further with. It's not necessarily hot chocolate. But Spicy's then asking, well, if Matt were to win HOH, who do you think he would put up? And Anthony doesn't give a direct answer from what I heard. Basically, Anthony was like, Matt wants to be good with the girls. That doesn't answer who he would put up. Pretty sure he would put up two girls. And we have evidence of this later on. But anyway, Spicy's like, I've really been trying to get closer to Matt, but it's just so dry with him. Like, she feels like Matt is not her type of guy here to hang out with. So it's just not really like clicking that much. So then Spicy asks Anthony, are we really getting rid of Goose this week? Is that the best move? And of course, Anthony says, well, it's better to keep Tola than it is to keep Elijah because Elijah is too unpredictable. And he was also talking about how they can use Tola, Matt, and Todd to take shots that they cannot take themselves. I'm assuming he means like at the girls. Maybe for Todd, he means like at the guys if they are going to go the hot chocolate route. But I mean, I definitely feel like he's telling on himself a little bit here and saying like, I want Tola and Matt here to take shots at the girls. So Anthony says, just so you know, we cannot win the next 2 to 3 HOHs because we do not need to be showing our cards right now. We need to just like keep floating along. But then there is going to come a point where we have to just win like every single competition that we can. Because if we touch the block, we're going to be going. So he says, let's just keep coasting as far as we can, and then we'll turn it up when we need to. So Spicy's like, cool, sounds good. Like, I really want to go all the way with you. I want to go to the end with you. And Anthony says, yeah, it's going to be the best thing to happen to Big Brother if we both make it to the end. No, it's going to be terrible. I'm sorry. That would be such a boring ending to the season. I cannot. But he's like, yeah, last two in, last two out. Last season we'd watch. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So then we have Todd pitching to Spicy V. And I have to say, there was significantly more Todd game talk in this digital daily than we've seen in the past. So Todd is asking Spicy, what if we keep Elijah? He will be a number for us. So he says, after the POV is over and we know who won, me, you, and Bailey should go to Avery and pitch that we should keep Goose because he will work with us. And he says, I think Goose has learned his lesson at this point. He's not going to turn on you again. And Spicy's like, yeah, I'd be down to keep him. Like, let's see what happens. Let's see. Okay. So then Avery, Kayla, and Spicy have a chat. And they're wondering, what is the plan if Tola comes down? If Tola wins power veto? And Avery is like, all right, I just came up with this amazing plan. She says she is kicking around the idea of putting up Anthony as a pawn. I'm sorry, that's so lame. You really would put Anthony on the block and wouldn't vote him out? So her reasoning is, if I put Anthony up on the block, it's going to throw people off the scent of us all working together. I'm sorry, that is so lame. If you have Anthony on the block, you vote him out. And if you don't, you deserve to lose. So she's like, yeah, Todd and Bailey will be happy if I put him up there. And I can just, justify it in my speech by saying that he put me up week 1. And she's just talking about how they cannot let Anthony go through another season without being nominated. They can't have it happen. But also, again, she would not want Anthony to go. She would still want Elijah to go this week. I just don't even know what to say anymore at this point. So then Bailey comes in and Spicy brings up, is Elijah really the best move this week? What if we go for Matt or Tola instead? She says Matt is coming for us. And Spicy says, if Matt is in jury, let's be real. He's going to either vote for a guy to win or for Lexus, depending on who's at the end. She says Goose is so beatable in competitions. We don't have to worry as much with him. I haven't seen Matt win anything yet, but they feel like Matt is like due for a competition win. And especially when they start to get really physical, he's going to be able to do well in those. So Avery's like, I hear you, but I would rather see Tola go than Matt. Like, if it's going to be one of those guys, I want it to be Tola. Apparently Avery is now like super close to Matt. I don't know when the hell that happened, but apparently they're like best friends now. So Avery says ideally she would want the nominations to stay the same and then they can vote out Tola instead of Elijah. I mean, I guess it's progress, but like, that's the best you got. So now let's talk about April 7th, Digital Daily. This one starts before the veto competition still. Kayla and Spicy are chatting and they're like, I know Avery is saying she wants Tola out, but they would rather have Matt leave this week than Tola because they feel like Matt is way more likely to win HOH and put 2 girls up on the block. They think that Tola would put up like Todd and Bailey, which I don't know that that's true because I feel like the guys would try to scoop up Todd and take out the girls. So I feel like Tola would also put up 2 girls, but yeah, they don't seem to agree with that. So anyway, these two, Spicy and Kayla, are actually secretly kind of hoping that Tola will win the veto so that Avery will have to change up her plan and possibly switch her target to Matt. So later, they have the POV competition, and we find out that Tola won the power veto. Finally, he won a competition after, saying, I'm going to rock this. I'm going to rock this. So I guess there's like some sort of a tooth theme, balancing something. Apparently, when they saw what it was, everyone was like, oh, Tola's going to win. Sure. Anthony hosted. He was wearing a tooth costume. So I'm wondering if this is sponsored by isn't Sonicare like a sponsor or something? I feel like that might have been related. But After the comp, Spicy and Kayla are secretly celebrating in the trophy room because this is what they wanted to happen. They wanted Avery to have to change up her plan. So a little later, we've got Spicy and Avery in the HOH room, and they're about to start talking, but Elijah pops in briefly, and he's like, so I just have to ask you a question. Are the directors still a thing? Like, did you guys all get together without me and like agree that you wanted me up on the block? Is that how it all went down? And Avery's like, no, no, no. Like, I made this move. I wanted to put you up. She says the directors are still a thing, but you're not part of it. Yeah. So anyway, Elijah leaves, and of course, Avery brings this up so many times throughout the rest of the daily, basically like making fun of him for being like, is the director still a thing? She always seems to pull at least one thing from each conversation with Elijah to make fun of him with other people, which is just like, it's not a good look. She also keeps making fun of Janine for asking her to be in a final two, like the first few days. And she keeps bringing up how Janine like stuck her hand out for a handshake. But I saw on Twitter, Janine posted the clip of when that happened. I remember too this conversation. And Avery was like all about it. And Avery was the one who stuck out her hand to shake hands on it. So mm-mm. But anyway, yeah, so Spicy and Avery are chatting, and Spicy's like, I know you were thinking this before, but I don't think that Todd should go up on the block as a replacement. She says Bailey would be pissed. We could lose Todd because there's a really good chance that the guys are going to flip the vote and get rid of him. We lose a number. So Avery's like, well, I can put up Matt, but I don't want him to go. Just let him go. Just let him go. So Spicy's like, all right. She knows she can work this a little bit. She's like, okay, if you're gonna put a Matt, that's great. I'm okay with Goose going. But if we don't vote out Matt, Kayla is gonna be upset because she feels like Matt is coming directly for her. So Spicy starts pushing for Matt to go. It's pretty obvious that that's what she wants. She says, Matt is coming for all of us girls. He is not in the Hot Chocolate Alliance. She tells Avery, you would have all of our support, and we will be strong going into next week if we take out Matt. So Avery's like, okay, cool. But if I do that, I'm going to be on Dougie's bad side. Grow up. Speaking of growing up, I need her to stop with the baby talk because it is so freaking annoying. You are a grown ass woman. It's her and Kayla. Kayla's been doing it a lot. I don't know if she's been stepping it up even more because Avery is the HOH this week. But Avery is always doing the baby talk and it's too much. So anyway, Avery, Dougie, Spicy, and Kayla are in the HOH. And now it's time to break the news to Dougie that one of his boys could be in danger this week. So Avery says, I think it might be best for Hot Chocolate if Matt goes up this week. And Dougie doesn't really say anything. He is very quiet during this conversation. And I feel like he was just kind of like, what the F? And like not expecting this. I think he was expecting Todd to go up and he's trying to formulate like, how am I going to work this in my favor? How am I going to change their minds so that she'll want to put Todd up on the block instead of Matt? So yeah, he was very quiet during this conversation. Lexus comes in, so it turns into like a full-blown Hot Chocolate meeting. We find out later, apparently Matt sent her up there to break things up. Little does he know that she is in that Hot Chocolate Alliance. But anyway, they're discussing the potential replacement nominees here. So the only options they're considering are Todd, Matt, and Bailey because they're not going to put up a member of Hot Chocolate, even though Avery was toying with the idea of putting up Anthony. So Avery immediately is like, it's not going to be Bailey. That's just not happening. So it's either Todd or Matt. And Anthony's like, oh, well, like if Todd went up on the block, would anyone even flip and vote Todd out? Like, I don't think you need to worry about that. Boy, you know you would do that. So Lexus is like, well, I hope you're not going to put up Matt when I stuck my neck out last week. Because in her mind and in reality, if she used the veto, Bailey was going to be going up as the replacement nominee. So she's like, I really did what you guys wanted to do. I did not use the veto. So I hope that you will return the favor here and not put Matt on the block. So Kayla is like, well, I have something to say too. I'm worried that if Matt wins HOH, he would put me up. And Anthony and Lexus are like, no, Matt would not do that. So, of course, they're going to say that. So, Kayla's like, okay, cool. Do you think you guys could like talk to him for me and like help me improve that relationship a bit? So then she kind of like backs down from wanting Matt to go up. And Bailey then walks in the room, super awkward. She has no idea what she just stumbled upon, the hot chocolate meeting. So yeah, she has no idea. What she is seeing is all these people who she does not normally see hanging out with Avery, like Dougie, Lexus. She doesn't realize that they're working together. So Bailey is just like, what are all these people doing? Like bombarding Avery and trying to push their agendas. So yeah, that was pretty awkward. So after that whole thing, the girls minus Lexus are in the trophy room, and Todd tried to come in and they sent him away, which I hate. That sucks, and I don't like that. I feel like that's not going to be good with Todd either. If they keep asking him to leave rooms, that's not gonna sit well with him when he's trying to, like, work with them. But anyway, Spicy is pissed at Kayla. She's like, "Kayla, you wanted Matt on the block so badly, but then when we get in front of other people, like Anthony and Lexus, you get so flippy-floppy, and you're just like, 'Oh, can you talk to him for me?'" So, Spicy's really annoyed about that. And Kayla's like, "Well, Avery clearly wasn't into the idea of putting Matt up, so I didn't wanna really push it too hard." Now, we've seen Spicy get frustrated with Kayla before, talking a big game behind closed doors. And then when it's time to like make a case for something to Anthony's face, she kind of like backs down, backs away. So I feel like Spicy is legit pissed again about that. But I also wonder if this is partially a distraction to try and throw Bailey off the scent of hot chocolates. And she did walk in on all of them together in a meeting. So I would imagine Spicy is trying to like put some distance between her and Kayla here. So Kayla is just like, I'm not getting in trouble for this. I want Matt out the most out of anybody. And she says, I'm a big effing girl. I don't need a man telling me what to do. A man. So Avery's like, all right, relax. I'm not mad at anyone. I'm still trying to figure out what to do. I need some time alone. And then like Kayla and Bailey started to get into it a little bit, and it was just like, why are we doing this? You guys want the same thing. You both want Matt to go. Why are you arguing right now? It was too much. But the next morning, Avery and Kayla are chatting, and Avery says, I came here to play. If Matt has to go up, then he has to go up, and we can talk later about whether we're going to keep him or not. What? You cannot keep him if you put him on the block. He needs to go. There is no coming back from that. What are you even talking about? So Kayla's like, yeah, if Matt goes up, we're going to have to vote him out because he's not going to be able to move past that, right? We're drawing the line in the sand by putting him up. So Avery's like, okay, well, I don't want to be a player who just rolls over. And she says, I am willing to backstab anyone that I'm working with. And then she's like, not you though. Like, I wouldn't do that to you. Okay. You should definitely be more careful about what you're saying. But anyway, Matt comes in. Kayla pulls a Spicy V and goes and hides in the bathroom. But this conversation, again, there was nothing to spill here because it was just freaking baby talks and talking crap about Goose. And suddenly, Matt and Avery are so close and calling each other like Maves. I guess it's Matt and Avery together. It just seems so like fake. Yeah, again, enough of the baby talks. I can't deal with it. So Spicy and Avery have a chat, and Avery's asking, if Matt goes, am I going to be in trouble next week? And Spicy says, no, like you're just putting him up on the block. We're going to be the ones voting him out. So, I mean, I think she is going to shoulder some of the responsibility there. But Spicy also says Lexus and Anthony are going to be upset about Matt leaving, but they're probably not going to win HOH. Let's not forget, Lexus has already won 2 competitions here. And Anthony is a production favorite. So anything goes. But Avery says, well, I don't think those 2 would have the balls to put me up on the block. I think they would. I guess she means she doesn't think that they would go against the Hot Chocolate Alliance, but like, I think they would. So then Kayla joins, and she feels like Lexus and Anthony aren't really all in on the hot chocolate alliance anymore. Some of the stuff that they've been saying, the people that they've been defending, she feels like they have other priorities. And Spicy's like, yeah, I know. I've known this for a while now. I mean, yeah, because you're also working with Anthony. So anyway, um, Spicy says, you know what though? Todd is a really good ally for us. And Avery agrees. He has been talking a lot more game with her. She feels really good about him. She feels like he's trustworthy. So it seems like they're wanting to pull Todd in a lot closer. So switching gears a little bit here, Goose has a chat with Avery, and he's like, all right, if you save my life and you shift to a different target here, I will never forget that. He gets kind of emotional. He starts crying, and he's like, I just want to make things right. And I'll really regret it if I don't at least get the chance to make things right and to fix this. So he says, I deserve to go to jail, but I don't deserve death by a firing squad. Oh, God. Okay. So Avery does say, I've been thinking a lot, and I am open to keeping you this week. So like we know she's already got some other stuff in motion here. Um we'll see who Goose decides to be most loyal to after this. If he does end up staying. Because I mean, like, even if Matt goes up on the block, there's no guarantee that he's gonna be leaving with this cast. So Anthony and Matt have a chat. Oh, Anthony says Kayla has been talking some junk like about you. Uh-oh. And he says to Matt, if you go up on the block, I want you to know I would never vote you out. Never. And Matt says, well, as big of a move as it would be to take me out, I don't think Avery wants that target on her back. And it's funny because Matt has done almost nothing in this game so far. Besides like bro out and hang out with Lexus. Like, what has he actually done in this game? Maybe I'm forgetting something, but I don't think so. But of course, there is that threat that he is going to start winning competitions, and then it's going to be a real issue. But it's just funny because, like, what has he even done so far? But Matt, he really feels like he should have the votes to stay if he goes up on the block. And Anthony's like, oh, yeah, 100% you will. It shouldn't even be a question. Yeah, it shouldn't be a question. If Matt's on the block, you vote him out. But Anthony tells Matt, you know, really, you got to work on Kayla, stay close to Kayla over the next few days, ease her mind about you, make sure she knows you're good. She's really emotional and like overthinky. So we got to work on that. Matt says, yeah, well, two girls are going to have to go up next week. And he's basically saying it would be Bailey and Kayla. This is exactly why the girls want him out. And he says, we need to pull Todd in closer. We're going to go to Todd. We're going to tell him that he's just being used by the girls as a number. And we're going to get him to work with us. So you want him to go from being used by the girls to being used by you? Like, no. Todd has seen who's been there for him. I mean, Spicy used the veto on him, the executive veto. So that really goes a long way with him. I don't see him jumping ship and working with the guys. But Matt says, are you sure? Like, we can trust Spicy that she's with us? And Anthony's like, I don't know. Like, look what she did with the executive veto. That was not what we wanted. She went against our wishes and saved Todd instead of Tola. So I don't know. And Matt's like, man, it would be bad. It would be bad if Spicy flipped and then Bailey gets Todd to flip. I'm really going to be in trouble. Why does he assume that he is Todd? I don't understand. I guess he keeps saying that, like, Todd promised he would never vote Matt out, but, like, Todd would definitely vote Matt out. So, anyway, Matt and Avery have a chat, and Avery says, Matt, I have to be straight up with you. I am considering putting you up on the block. So, Avery is crying about how he's her best friend in this house. Since when? I don't see that at all. How are they best friends? Is this like in the last 24 hours or something, or like since she won HOH? Because like I don't see it. But yeah, she's like, I don't want to see you up on the block. I don't want to see you go home on my HOH. I wouldn't be saying all that. She says your social game is really good, and I respect it. And you know, people who have really good social games tend to make it really far. So I know you won't take this personally. I think think he will. Matt says, though, if I go up and I stay, I won't be targeting you. He says, you are the closest girl to me besides Lexus. Congrats. I mean, that's not really that big of a deal because he is neglecting here to mention he puts all the other guys like above the girls anyway. So even though he's saying you're my number 2 girl, she's really like his number 4 or 5 because he's got like other people he's close to. But anyway, Avery says, I'm going to visit you in BC all the time. This sounds an awful lot like a goodbye, not just an I'm putting you up on the block as a pawn. But I think he did ask her in a different conversation, like, are you still leaning towards Elijah as your target? And she said yes, but I don't think that's true. Okay. So Lexus and Avery have a chat, and this was pretty awkward because Lexus was like, why would you put up Matt over Todd? She says the same way that Bailey has Todd and he'll do whatever she says, I have Matt. And she says, like, out of anyone, I have Matt wrapped around my finger. Are we sure about that? Because I think that Matt is wrapped around Anthony's finger. I feel like he would do what Anthony says over what Lexus says, but that's just my opinion. Lexus says, it's really hurtful to me that Bailey is being prioritized over me. So this is also giving me flashbacks to Goose last week being like, Bailey, she's not even in the alliance. So Lexus says, I've been so invested in this alliance. And I'm assuming she means hot chocolate. And she's a little bit surprised here that Bailey / Todd is being prioritized over her and Matt. Oh, the light went out. I'm a witch again. But yeah, she's like, you don't think that the vote's gonna flip on Matt? Like, what if Bailey and Kayla decide they want to vote Matt out? And Avery's kind of like, no, I don't think so. Lexus ends up saying that she'll respect whatever Avery does, but like, she's not gonna be happy about this. So then Anthony has a one-on-one with Avery, and he is like very quietly, like literally speaking very quietly and softly, he's pushing for Avery to put up Todd. He's saying like, Matt would never go after you personally. And Avery's like, I get that, but I think it's going to be easier for Hot Chocolate to get to the end without Matt or Tola there. And she says, honestly, I talk more game with Todd than I do with Matt. Am I close to Matt personally? Yes. But she feels like she's been talking way more game with Todd. The only time that Matt's been giving her reassurances game-wise was after he found out that he's going to be going up probably. So I have to give Avery props here for at least like sticking to her guns with this renom, because I could have totally seen her getting convinced to switch it to Todd after talking to Anthony. I feel like if this was a few weeks ago, she probably would have fallen for it, but thank God it's not. So anyway, Todd and Elijah chat by the hot tub. This was just a quick thing. Todd tells Elijah, like, if I can save you this week, will you stick with me for the rest of the game? And Elijah says, yes. If you save me here, you've got me. He shakes his hand. So a new alliance is born. Later, they have the power veto ceremony. We see the last bit. It's clear that Tola used POV on himself. Avery nominated Matt. So we have Matt versus Elijah up on the block. Avery was crying a lot. And there were multiple multi-minute hugs at the end of this digital daily, both before and after the ceremony between Avery and Matt. Like that first hug before the ceremony went on, it had to be at least like 3 to 5 minutes. It was a lot. Yeah, I just feel like he was trying to guilt her a bit there. But anyway, I just have to say, you guys better freaking vote Matt out while you have the chance. Like, he is on the block right now. I'm going to be so pissed if this vote like flips back and forth and then Elijah ends up going. That's going to be such a waste. But I'm looking at you, Todd, Spicy, Kayla, Bailey. You only need 4 votes this week to make it happen. So we'll see. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting week to see how the rest of this plays out. But I want to thank you all so much for being here. I have to go home. So we'll be back tomorrow for more. And until next time, much love. Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye.